Went ahead and named as many guys as we could. So next week we'll probably have 70 players of the game.
They do it. When we do it.
Marquise Bill and Nadarius Fagan shared Defensive Player of the Week awards. They're both in class right now, so I'll definitely make sure they get these. Same as Kwame Clark, who was Special Teams Player of the Week. Again, FAMU's a unique school who likes to schedule class during, well, they say that class is fried chicken wings on the hill, so they might be lying, and they may be in the cafe fried chicken wings. We found Xavier trying to sneak up there, and we went and kidnapped him and put him in the car, so we got him here today. But Xavier Smith was one of our Offensive Players of the Week, and so he's here, so we'll have him come up and introduce himself to everyone, tell where he's from, what class he is, and what number he is, and all that good stuff, and then we'll take some pictures. So, Offensive Player of the Game for this past week, Xavier Smith.
How y'all doing? I'm a wide receiver. I'm from Haines City, Florida. Yeah. I'm from Haines City, Florida, and I'm number 19, so I'm a red shirt senior, and I'm majoring in health, leisure, and fitness.
Right.
You got Mr. J. Yeah, this is a new phone.
Miss Jerry, can you come here and edit on the phone?
All right, Coach. That's great. This is a new iPhone, so you know. You better check.
Vaughn, check it out, no Vaughn.
Make sure you take a picture of yourself.
You got it?
Just don't swipe left.
You got it. You got it.
Got it? All right.
I know what I'm doing.
Good deal. Well, Bob, quick show of hands. Who made the trip to Baton Rouge last week? Y'all had a good time? Yeah. I know my uncle. You just got back yesterday, huh? A couple of days ago. Yeah. But no, it was a really good trip. The guys really enjoyed themselves. Of course, you know, Louisiana has great food, so the guys raved about the food that we ate. They did something with Friday meal I'd never seen before. The green, they like a green bean. I don't know what, it was like 3 different kind of green beans in one, with some type of bacon, and I don't even know what it did. It was good. It was really good. But again, just really, really great to be on this winning streak. We don't really talk about it as a football team, being on the 6-game winning streak. We just talk about, what we have to do week to week to be the best team we can be. And that's what these guys have done all year. They've been focused. They faced adversity. We had a bunch of guys last week come down with the flu early in the week. So we had about 10 guys or 12 guys miss practice on Tuesday, and even had a couple guys that kind of caught ill on Friday when we got to the hotel. Luckily it wasn't the flu, but we had about 7 guys. We usually IV about 3 to 4 guys before the game. Guys like Xavier and Chad, those low body fat guys who burn a lot of energy and tend to cramp up. Eddie knows what that's like being a muscular guy. But we see some of these guys that don't have any body fat, that when they start sweating a lot, losing all that salt, it's easy for them to cramp up. So we usually do about 3 guys, but this past week we had IV like 7 guys before the game, because 4 of them were coming off of some type of sickness, whether it was flu or something else, to make sure they were hydrated enough for the game. And so a lot of adversity on the trip, but again, the guys came out. Of course, anyone who's been to Baton Rouge, Mumford Stadium knows it's a hostile place to play. Their band is known, just like the March, not the Musket March 100, but they're a band that's got a lot of recognition, and I see why. They were marching in. I mean, I'm used to seeing the 100 march in, and Southern started marching in. I just started counting the twos. I'm like, good God. I mean, We have, I officially counted ours when we got in the stands, that we have 16. And we have 16 tubas with 100. They have 26. So they almost have twice as many tubas as we do. And so, of course, very brassy and loud. But again, so, great atmosphere. Game started out, we scored the first drive of the game, went down, and Rashawn hit K-Dot for a touchdown. I think that's the 5th straight game that he's had a touchdown, so he's really playing really good football. Got a stop on defense, and then they punt the ball away, and the ball hits one of our guys, and they get it on the short field. And they score to make it 7-7. Then they go up, and at one point we were actually down, I think 17-14. And then we're able to 17-13, and we're able to score right before halftime to go up 20-17. And then at that point, the defense did a really, really great job of making adjustments at halftime. They had some things in the first half that they were able to execute against us defensively. They schemed us up on a couple of things, and we went in at halftime and made some adjustments. And then the second half, they had 61 yards of offense. And half of those came on the last 2 plays of the game when we were in prevent defense. The ball was on the -1, and they just handed it off twice and got like 30 yards. So to take those 2 plays away, I think they have about 30 yards of offense in the second half. So again, defense did a phenomenal job. Isaiah Land added to his nation-leading sack total with 2 more sacks to put him at 14 for the season. Leading the nation in tackles for loss with 20.5. Savion got another sack. And so again, the defense played a really sound football game offensively. I thought Rashawn played a great first half. Really made some great plays and extended some drives. Xavier is back healthy, so again, he showed his explosiveness again, coming off an ankle injury that's kind of hampered him the last few weeks. And so we're getting back healthy at a great time as we, finish this last 2-game stretch of the regular season. So very excited about the win. Again, these guys are locked in, focused. We've kind of tapered back a little bit on the physicality this week just to make sure we can get to the game, make sure that our bodies aren't breaking down, that we can get to Arkansas fresh, and play fast, play physical like we have all season. And it'll be another tough challenge. Again, I think if you paid attention to this conference this season, you see that records aren't always indicative of how dangerous a team can be. And I think Alcorn State found that out firsthand last weekend. And Southern found it out a few weeks ago when they traveled when they played Texas Southern, who hadn't won the game before they beat them. And so Arkansas Pine Bluff on paper has not had a great season. I think they're 2-7. But their head coach, Doc Gamble, and I worked together in 2012 at Alcorn State. And so anytime you play a coach against a guy that you work with, that gives you a little added incentive to go a little harder that week. So he'll have his team ready to play. They'll play hard. They get senior day for those guys. And so obviously, no one wants to lose senior day, just like you don't want to lose homecoming. And so our guys will have to be ready to prepare, ready to go, which they will be. And we'll board the plane Friday morning to head up to Little Rock. The guys will stop by Little Rock Central High School, of course, the first integrated high school here. So we'll go and visit Little Rock Central, give our guys a little history lesson, and then we'll stay there in Little Rock and then drive down to Pine Bluff on Saturday morning to get ready to take on the Golden Lions. So appreciate being here today and bringing Xavier by. And as always, we'll open the floor for a few questions before I get my scolded by Coach over here. So the game is 2 Central, which will be 3 Eastern. So it's on ESPN Plus. So if you're here, it'll be 3 o'clock Eastern time, or 2 o'clock kickoff Central time.
You play UAPB, and didn't BCU beat them this weekend? Was that?
They beat Alcorn State this weekend.
It's Alcorn, okay. What is that's something to think about. I don't know what Alcorn's record is. They were
5-3 at the time, so they're 5-4.
Oh wow. Okay. So what's UAPB's record?
They're 2-7.
2-7.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Hadn't really looked that far ahead. You know, and we got to take care of this weekend first. But again, we're continuing the playoff conversation in the event that Jackson doesn't lose twice. Obviously, if Jackson has to lose this weekend, they travel to Baton Rouge to take on Southern, and then next week they play their in-state rival, Alcorn State. So if they win one of those games, they will clinch the East officially, which will make them the Eastern representative in the SWAC championship game. And then at that point, we're looking for a playoff bid. So postseason definitely on the forefront of our minds. We're continuing that conversation nationally. We are, I think, 27th in one poll and 29th in another. And so after this week, there are a couple of teams at a rank that will play each other this week. So hopefully one of them will knock the other one out of the polls. We'll jump back into the top 25, which will really strengthen our case for that large playoff berth. That's kind of the mindset right now.
I had the coldest night of my life last week. I left in the fourth quarter, but I could say I was glad you did because I had to go too. But the question is, how did the guys handle the cold? And now that we're in the SWAC, are we going to need to get hoods for them so that they can, when they come up, be warm?
So it was a little chilly, I will admit, but the guys.
It was cold.
Well, but the guys who play, they warm up. So when you run around, you're sweating. It's natural to them. The coaches, the guys who aren't playing as much, they bundle up a little bit more when it comes to cold weather.
That's why they was shuffling shirts. I mean, are they kidding?
Yeah, because again, because you'll get hot. Like, so when you run around and you have on 40 pounds worth of pads, that stuff gets hot. And so when you sweat, and then the Nike gear that we wear is dry fit gear, so it basically the technology cools you when it's hot. It kind of warms you. You use your body to warm you when it's cold. And so it really works out for our guys. Doug, our equipment manager, is here today. He said he was hungry, so we figured we'd bring him by and break him in the 220 quarterback club. So Doug Lipscomb does a phenomenal job outfitting our guys. But again, I'm a warm weather guy. I love warm weather. I hate cold weather, and that's why when we said we were going to the SWAC, I was jumping for joy. Because this time last year, we would have been going to Dover, Delaware, and Baltimore, and I might have been without a head football coach for a couple of weeks. I don't do that extreme cold. So Pine Bluff will be a little chilly, just like last week, but it's not that bone-chilling cold under 32 degrees that you'll see in some of the MEAC schools. So
now I'll be ready this week.
Just bring your extra sweater, bring your extra layer. It'll be fine. But no, the guys that play typically don't. You'll see a lot of them don't wear sleeves at all because you want to feel your body warms up when you're in the
Coach, how about an injury report?
So we're pretty healthy for the most part. General Hunt kind of re-aggravated his ankle last week. Courtney Cox got rolled up, our starting corner. And so we'll more than likely hold those guys this week. But everybody else that's on the travel list should be ready to go, barring any type of, again, this flu is kind of going around campus, not just the football team, but it's going around campus. And so if we make sure guys are good to go by the time we leave on Friday, we should have a pretty healthy team going up to Arkansas. So for the most part, other than the guys that are done for the year, we're as healthy as can be in week 10.
Since you want to look over here, I'm going to call you out.
There you go. I was waiting for the hand to go up. Last week you stood up. So.
Question. Our guys on muscle milk, right? Do we not have enough weight on the offense line where when we're on the one, we can't push through that line? The quarterback needs to keep the ball. That line needs to push on over and let him get on in.
That's right.
We got too many ones on the one that we missing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And that's definitely something that we talked about this week. When you get down on the goal line, it's about attitude. Okay? Now, weight isn't the issue because every lineman other than Kamari, number 61, 51, is right around 300 pounds or over. So it's not a matter of whether they're big enough or even strong enough. Now Southern was a pretty big team too. They were probably the biggest team in the SWAC that we played. But a lot of it's just attitude, and you got Terrell, who's 230, Jay McLeod, running back, who's 245, and you know, they're not falling forward. You know, so a lot of times you see little Bishop, and that's why Eddie wanted us to bring him by at 165, 70 pounds. Yeah. He goes forward because he just runs with an attitude, and he will not be denied. And so a lot of that boils down to just straight attitude. When the ball goes on the one, you got to change your attitude. You got to roll your sleeves up and decide you're going to create a new line of scrimmage in the end zone, as opposed to. Well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. But no, we definitely want to make sure that we get down on the one inside what we call the goal zone. Get in the end zone. Get in the end zone. By any means necessary. Get in the end zone. Any means necessary.
You mind giving Bishop a hand, man?
Bishop Bonner, yeah, he's 224 yards away from eclipsing the 1,000-yard mark, which hasn't been done here in a few years. So we're going to definitely make sure we get him those 1,000 yards because that was a goal of his before the season, and he's close to it. So we're a big game this weekend, next weekend. So we'll definitely get him over 1,000. Hold on.
I just want to say something to Xavier. You know, in 2019, Xavier was All-American. He was our featured receiver. And in 2020, we take off. In 2021, we kind of spreading the ball out, playing control offense. But you've never heard one negative thing from him. That's right. And you won't. Because I went in the locker room the other day, and I passed by Xavier's locker and looked down, and on top of his locker, where you sit down, he had the Bible open. So keep that attitude, brother.
Maybe little Pope kind of boy, so he's good with me.
Coach, since we're doing Xavier exclamation point, I want everyone in there to take a look at Xavier. Xavier is the only student at Florida Agricultural Mechanical University thought enough to write a check to become a member of the Rattler Boosters.
All right.
What kind of offense does
They're traditional spread offense. So there'll be 3 receivers, tight end, running back, like most of us are. They have a dynamic quarterback, dual threat guy, Skylar Perry. Last week against Grambling, I think he threw for like 240 and ran for 160. And so he makes them go. You know, so he's playing well. They can move the ball, score some points. So our defense has their hands full trying to contain an athletic quarterback. And he's probably the most athletic one that we'll see all season. So it'll be a great challenge for our defense. Again, Southern was the leading rushing team in the conference, and we held them to 90 yards rushing. And so that's a challenge for us every week to stop the run, and we'll face a quarterback that's one of the leading rushers in the conference this week. So again, it'll be a great challenge for our defense to see if we can keep our streak going. In 10 games, we've only given up 100-yard rusher, and that was the University of South Florida. So no other game in the individual has eclipsed 100 yards rushing on us, and we want to make sure we keep that streak going. So.
Does he have a running back that comes in?
Not bad, but he's really the main threat. You know, so again, trying to contain him is going to be definitely a challenge. Any other questions?
Talk about Southern's line again, because I looked at them against Jackson State, and I think Jackson used blitzes to do it good, but Southern, they didn't move.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they're a really big football team. Coach Odom, that left and went to Norfolk, they did a good job recruiting. They understood. He's a MEAC guy, Coach Odom, so he understood building the team from the interior line out, start with O-line and D-line, and then branch out. So they've always been a pretty big football team. But you know, to put in perspective, the preseason, of course, you have your preseason all-conference selections. They pick 5 offensive linemen, 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 running backs. Southern, in the preseason rankings, had 4 of the 5 first-team offensive linemen in the preseason all-conference team. And so it shows how good those guys are up front. They've been playing together for a long time. They're big, and they did as good a job against our defensive front as anybody has all season. Probably as well as South Florida. They're really, really big guys. On their D-line, they're talented. So again, they're a team that has a lot of talent. You know, Southern's a team that's very, very dangerous, and you know, so we're keeping our fingers crossed. I mean, I think they can give Jackson, you know, all they want this week, especially playing that home game in Mumford.
I was reading probably 2 articles, and it was stating when we run the tables and if Jackson State run the tables, it seemed like Jackson State could get a bid to the playoffs. Is that true?
No, okay. He was saying if Jackson wins out, can they opt out of the SWAC championship to go to the playoffs? No, they cannot. So the conference bylaws state that the winner of the SWAC is obligated to play in the Celebration Bowl. And so if they win one of these next 2 games, they win the East, they will play in the SWAC championship game against either Prairie View or Alcorn, depending on what happens this weekend.